all the machines up here. What did we do before cell phones? Took notes, right? Yeah.
Just how much more prepared is Tim if he's called upon to play than he was a month ago after just a week of practice, hadn't thrown a bunch? Just the progression over the last month, in your opinion, is he much more prepared to play with a full scope of playbook?
I tell you, he looked good in practice. And, there was some concern the first time around because he was coming off that injury. But, he's had 3 good weeks of practice since then. And I'm excited to see, if he's the guy, I'm excited to see him play.
How have Jamal and Swift looked this week in their return to practice?
It's good to see Jamal and Swift back on the practice field. Jamal looked like himself, and Swift is still increasing his reps every day. So we'll see if he'll be ready to go. If not, I think we have a pretty good stable of backs.
Is that a good problem for you to have?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Swift, he's so dynamic. We missed those explosives, but our young backs, they've done a heck of a job going in and keeping us on schedule.
We've heard and honestly seen over the years just the difficulty of a rookie playing tight end. It's one of the more complex positions on the field. Right now, you're rolling with 2 rookies at that spot as your guys. What have been some of the challenges that you've had with that, and how have you seen those guys respond?
Well, I tell you what, the both they're growing like weeds, but we're living with their mistakes right now. But their mistakes are full speed, and we can live with those aggressive mistakes. But they're getting better every single week.
Jonah was first or second Pro Bowl alternate. Sometimes it's hard for the common man to see what a lineman does, and especially an interior lineman. Speak to how valuable he's been to that running game.
He's been very valuable. Just his whole mentality that he brings to the offensive line room. His mindset. He's very aggressive, and on game day, he plays really aggressive. I don't want to say dirty, but he plays really aggressive, and he just brings that grit that you want in the offensive line. That's part of his intangibles and his leadership.
As a former running back, I imagine you kind of love that towing the line as an offensive lineman that plays with that.
Absolutely. You look for that, and that stuff's contagious, man, to a football team.
How many of those guys do you have on the line right now? Obviously, Sewell kind of fits that definition as well. Is that most of your offensive line right now?
I do. I think the offensive line's done an outstanding job. No matter who's in. We haven't played with our starting 5 yet, but no matter who's next man up mentality, that's how they go about it in that room, and they've gotten the job done.
Is this more depth on the offensive line than you usually see, though? You've got a lot of guys who play.
Absolutely. There are times when I've looked at our backups here that would have been started somewhere else. There is some good depth in this offensive line.
What do you like the most? Go ahead. Just what do you like the most in the last few weeks with Amon Ra? Just the production, the quality, and number of catches that he's had. Is he becoming that kind of security blanket type guy?
He really is. I think that whole receiving group, I think they've gotten better. And they work at it, man. It's good to see them work every day in practice. But Saint, he's like I said before, he's more patient. He's reading coverage. He's not doing as much. Quarterbacks are trusting him more, and with his skill set, inside, it's easy for him to be a high target guy because he blocks so well in the run game. And so many times he's going in to make a hard block, and they think, in the passing game, he's going in, they think it's another hard block, and he's slipping by people getting open. So it goes hand in hand.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Is less, teaching a rookie that less is sometimes more, is that the hardest part to get over that hump for maybe a young guy, especially a receiver sometimes?
Sometimes that is the case. With Saint, he learned, he's a fast learner. So, he picked up on it pretty quick, and he studies the game. He studies other receivers. So he's coming along just fine, though.
That's actually what I wanted to ask about, too. But just we saw him get a couple handoffs here over the last couple weeks. Just how expansive can his role as a running back, be in this offense?
Yeah, I wouldn't quite go that far. Actually, try to put him between the tackles 1 or 2 times. He looked at me sideways, but he can just do so many things. And you look at his physicality in the run game blocking, so you say, sure, he could run the ball. But, so far it's been on the perimeter and things like that. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
Is he his own guy, or does he remind you of maybe anybody that you've met or seen or come across back in the day, a young version of, or is he just his own kind of guy?
He's his own kind of guy, but there's also other players that he remind me of. I'm just trying to think of my man in Pittsburgh right now, Heinz Ward. Oh my goodness, just the way he blocks. And Heinz was so crafty with his footwork and saying is learning when to be crafty and when not to be. So that would be the first comparison I would make.
Anthony, I don't know if next couple times we get you, I don't know if it's going to be personal, so I just want to make sure to ask this today. Just given sort of how your role has evolved here, what needs to happen for you to come back next year? Are you comfortable in this role going forward? Do you need to be a play caller? How do you sort of?
You talk about next year. I'm just trying to get through the day. I really focus on staying in the present and trying to help Dan Campbell and this offense as much as I can. But and if I do that next year, take care of itself. We'll figure that out when the time comes.
What do you sort of see your future being as a coach? You want to be head coach still? You want to be a play caller? Where do you?
I think we're always evolving and things changing. Yeah. I mean, if the opportunity presented itself to try to help it, but this is my opportunity right now, so I can't even think outside of this opportunity. So it's just best to stay in the present.
Can you just sum up your feelings and how your role has evolved?
You're doing everything but calling plays. You're the coordinator, but you're just not calling it on game day. And some of the plays you do call. The head coach still, asks for your advice on this and that. But it's different. It's not the role that I came here for, but it's still a role, and we're still trying to help the Lions win football games.
With the usage of St. Brown in the backfield, it's not something that's, we talk about all the time, there's nothing unique in football. See it in San Francisco with Debo, you see it elsewhere, but what does that do for a defense? Is it a mismatch creator?
It can be personnel-wise. When Saints in there, we're in four wides, whatever. They may put dime on the field, or they have nickel on the field, and you have better matchups there if the receiver can go in the backfield and run the ball. You leave a running back in there. Sometimes they have two linebackers, or sometimes even three linebackers on the field. So you look for those sort of mismatches in the blocking schemes.
I wanted to ask about Godwin. How do you keep his confidence up, even though he's putting the ball on the ground a couple times now in the past couple games? And what's been his reaction to the issues with the fumbles?
He's going through a rough patch, and we're going to figure out how mentally tough he is. My philosophy has always been when a running back's going through a rough patch like that, keep giving it to him. It's the best way to help him come through this. But we have all the confidence in the world in that young man, and I just believe he's going to come out on the other side a better running back than he is right now. So we'll just keep using him. But you definitely got to. It's been a concern. Three lost fumbles in 2 weeks. That's a concern.
Is it a technical thing or a mental thing?
It's fundamentals. It's carrying the ball too low. So we're teaching him, to get it up higher and just do all those things. Deuce is doing a good job with that, and I believe he'll come through it just fine.